Whenever she gets into a relationship, she just jumps in 2 feet first, and she doesn't care if there's no water in the pool. If there's just concrete, she's like, guess I've got 2 broken legs. Is someone gonna push my wheelchair?
Where are the quiet gays? Where are the quiet gays supposed to go?
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Lesbian Book Club podcast. We're so happy that you're here. Today we are covering Season 1, Episode 12 of The L Word. But before we get into that, we want to talk about what is happening in California right now. If you don't know, there are wildfires raging through Los Angeles, and we are coming to you from LA. And the wildfires have been devastating the city since last Tuesday afternoon. So we want to start off by letting you know that we are safe. I, Haylie, have evacuated my home early Wednesday morning before I went to work. And Lauren luckily was on vacation when the fires started. And at this point, obviously, she's returned home, where thankfully the fires have not reached her. Both of our homes are still standing, but many have not been so lucky. We feel so thankful, and it is surreal that our conversations with each other reach all of you across the world. Many of you are also in the LA area, and to you we say that we are thinking of you and we hope you are safe. On our page, we've been reposting resources as we see them in hopes that you can take advantage of them if needed, and we will cover resources and ways to help here in a minute. For our members of the Lesbian Book Club that are outside of LA, across the world, we are calling you in to be a support system. Thousands of people have been displaced, thousands of homes have been lost. Historically Black Altadena, where families went to build their lives after Jim Crow, has burned. The Palisades fire is spreading from the coast to the valley and threatening to go south into Moore City. Pets and wild animals alike are loose, exhausted, and terrified. Firefighters are in desperate need of supplies and relief. At least 11 have been confirmed dead in the fires so far, and we would like to take this time to recognize them. Anthony and Justin Mitchell, a father and son. Anthony was a retired salesman and amputee who used a wheelchair, and his son Justin was in his early 20s and had cerebral palsy. Anthony's other son, also in his 20s, lived with them as well, but was in the hospital at the time. They died in the fire while waiting for an ambulance to rescue them. Anthony's remains were found at the side of his son's bed, and the family believes he was trying to save him. Rodney Nickerson, 82, was a leader in his Altadena neighborhood and Skid Row volunteer. He loved his home and did not want to leave, and he died in his bed. Erling Kelly, 83, stayed in the home that she had lived in for 40 years. Her family mourns her as they had to make the painful choice to leave her behind. Victor Shaw, 66, died with hose in hand trying to save his family's legacy. His sister Sherry mourns the loss of her best friend, who she tried to save. Randall Mead, 55, lovingly known as Craw, died in his home in Malibu. He was beloved by the surfing community, and the home he passed in was coined the Crab Shack. Rory Callum Sykes, 32, partially blind former child star with cerebral palsy, was killed when the Palisades fire swept through his family estate. His mother was unable to put out the fire that started on his roof because water had been shut off by local authorities, and she was unable to lift or move her son to safety. Her calls to 911 would not connect. He loved gaming and technology and wanted to travel to Africa and Antarctica. Other victims have remained unidentified. Please join us in a moment of silence to recognize the victims, their lives, and their families left behind. Thank you. We would now like to provide some resources for those affected by the fires, as well as ways to help if you are able. If you've been affected by the fires, Instagram has been a great tool. This is where I've been able to gather a lot of this information. Junior High LA is an LGBTQ plus friendly community space that is providing free vegan meals, supplies, and community. They have masks, water, hygiene, supplies, gaming and crafting supplies, and contactless pickup if you prefer that. They're located at 603 South Brand Boulevard in Glendale. In our description for the episode, I'm going to put a couple links. There will be a link to LA Mutual Aid resources for the fire. It includes shelters, animal shelters, meals, donated items, information and services, Wi-Fi and charging, transportation, and horse hauling. It's called the MALAN Fire and Windstorm Resources. If you need emergency therapy during this time, there will be a link to the Inclusive Therapist LA Mutual Aid document that has a bunch of therapists that are providing free therapy at this time. And this is not the only document going around. I know that a lot of therapists are offering their services. So if you don't find a fit here, you can find a fit elsewhere. Airbnb is providing free housing to people displaced by the fires. They are working with the LA 211, call 211 for support. Lyft, riders in need can use the code CA Fire Relief 25, valid for 2 rides up to $25 each from now until January 15th. And Uber, use promo code wildfire25 in the wallet section of your Uber app to redeem 2 free Uber rides up to $40 each for transportation to and from active shelters. So we'll put all of that in the bio, okay? If you want to help, please, all of our listeners, listen to this. Donate to the LAFD Foundation to provide firefighters with necessary supplies and resources. Go to supportlafd.org. Donate to the Community Foundation's Wildfire Recovery Fund to support intermediate and long-term recovery efforts for major California wildfires as well as preparedness efforts. You do that at www.calfund.org/fund/wildfire recovery fund. The California Fire Foundation provides immediate assistance to victims through programs like supplying disaster relief cash cards to those affected by wildfires, www.cafirefoundation.org. Habitat for Humanity of Greater Los Angeles assists in rebuilding homes for those affected. Go to www.habitatla.org/supportus. World Central Kitchen prepares and serves meals to communities impacted by natural disasters and during humanitarian crises. Go to wck.org/news/first-alert CA fires January 25th. Foster displaced pets through LA animal shelters, humane societies, the Canine Rescue Club, or Positive Beginnings. Positive Beginnings is where my girlfriend and I adopted our dog from. They're a great organization. Any of these organizations could also use donations of supplies or money. Donate N95 masks to shelters and volunteer organizations. Donate directly to families through GoFundMe who've lost their homes. Donate meals to firefighters through Le Great Outdoor on Instagram. All of these I'll put in the bio so that you have options of what to do, you know where to find them. And also, like I said, Instagram is a great resource for finding ways to help. I've been incredibly amazed by the community online and the way that we've been able to use social media to come together in a time of crisis and really use it as a tool. And I take advantage of it. So that being said, another way to help, and I'll close this off with that, is that if you are not in LA and you see somebody sharing ways to help, share it. Get as many eyes on it as you can. The more people that we have that can send money and relief to those who need it will make a difference for these families. And that brings us to the end of this. I want to give a huge thank you to the firefighters who have been putting their lives and their health at risk for our safety, for their families who let their loved ones walk out the door every day and put themselves in a terrifying, dangerous situation. And also, there are incarcerated firefighters who are fighting this fire, and they get paid $1 a day. There is a fund out there for them too. I'm going to try and find the link for that. I'll put that in the bio as well, that you can, I'm not sure if it gives money to their commissaries directly or exactly how it contributes to them, but it contributes to these incarcerated firefighters who are also risking their bodies and their health and their lives. And it is widely said by the people who have worked with them that they're the most respectful and hardworking firefighters, and it's just not quite right that they get so little for how much they've risked for us. So if that's something that is important to you, you can also contribute to that. So thank you to all of them. Thank you to everybody who is volunteering and donating. And thank you to everybody who's reaching out and making sure that we are safe. And I just want to send a whole bunch of love out there into the world and into LA and say, we're thinking of you, we love you, and we've just got to be community for each other right now. That's what this community's for. It's time to step up. And now let's get into it, all right?
Yeah, thank you, Haylie, for putting all of this together and for that intro. And yeah, of course, thank you to just all of our first responders, fire department, of course, EMTs, ambulance drivers, law enforcement that are out there answering all of the 911 calls and, helping out with all the evacuations and everything. A lot of our first responders are putting their lives on the line, like their health, like Haylie, like you mentioned. And thank you for compiling the list of services, and they'll be in the episode description below. And yeah, we all just need to come together right now and help wherever we can. Sharing things online, I think people think isn't, helpful, but I think it is. I mean, I just saw one of my friends posted about a woman that they came into contact with an older lady who lost her phone and everything in the fire, all her contacts, and was trying to find her son and was able to connect with him through social media from other people seeing the post. So share away all the resources. You can always share our stories as well with the information that's in there. And yeah, just I had another friend post about how she'd been going around to the shelters to volunteer, and they're like turning people away because they have so many volunteers, which is a really beautiful thing to see happen right now. And, I feel for everyone who's lost their houses and just lost anything in this fire, because yeah, it might be affecting a very affluent area in certain parts of the fire, but you can't replace memories. It doesn't matter. Yeah, people have insurance and whatnot, but you can't replace memories. You can't replace your home is your sanctuary. And my heart goes out to everyone who's lost anything in these fires.
Yeah.
So with that, we're going to cover our next episode, and, I feel like it might be a tad shorter just with the somberness of everything that's going on right now. But, it was nice to kind of like stop thinking for a little bit and watch this episode and be like, whew, okay, got to turn my brain off for a hot second. And it was kind of a fun one because we go to Dinah Shore and do that whole party with our fun cast. So yeah, should we get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay. Well, we will be covering season 1, episode 12 of The L Word. I think it's called A Look Back, and it's kind of an episode where we get to hear all of our cast members' coming out stories, which I think are really cute. Some of them are quite interesting, and some of them are just, some are really adorable. Shane's was like one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's see. Alice, Dana, Tina, Shane, and Jenny go to Dinah Shore weekend, which, if you don't know, is like a huge lesbian party in LA. It happens every year. I'm sorry, it's not in LA, it's in Palm Springs. Happens every year. And they go, and Dana's receiving an award, and but Bette does not go. Bette stays because she has a lot to deal with at the CAC. Haylie, what did you think of this episode?
You know, I'm gonna shock everyone, but one of my favorite people this episode was Jenny.
She's cute in this episode. She doesn't come off like a terrible human being. You know, I feel like with Jenny, everyone needs to go and get drunk and have a bunch of women telling them that they're awesome every once in a while, okay? What's that noise?
I fear that my girlfriend's roommates directly above her are vacuuming.
It's fine. We're going with it. We don't care right now. We don't care today. We are doing this episode.
Yeah, you know, guys, you're secondhand experiencing the effects of evacuation.
Right. And if we have to hear a little vacuum background noise, so be it.
Yeah.
I think
I'm not in my quiet studio, aka my bedroom.
I'm literally laying on my stomach on my bedroom bed right now, recording this. But yeah, Jenny was really sweet. She was like kind of recounting her situation with Marina a lot of this episode, and just being just 20 Jello shots in probably. And then the thing is, though, it's like I was so like having all those women be like, yeah, call Marina, tell her how terrible she is, blah, blah, blah. And poor Jenny, I mean, we're all susceptible to peer pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt for her so bad when Marina picks up.
Yeah.
Thank God for that lady who was like, I got this, don't worry. I will help you. And you know what's funny? That actress, I forget her name, I met her at a pickleball tournament that I went to. I know, very gay. And I was like, I swear I know this lady. And I was like looking, I was like, Jenny, season 1, Dinah Shore cast. And I found her, and it was absolutely her.
Oh my God.
She was super nice. Maybe I forget her name, but she's actually really famous. She's like a big, like she's been in a lot of things.
She looked familiar.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen her in things before because she's probably part of SAG, like works all the time, whether it's like extra work. I don't think extras. What's one up from extra where you like have lines and stuff?
I mean, it's like a principal, but not.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So that was really a fun little part for Jenny, kind of win some feelings back, I think.
Yeah. And it was cute to see her with the girls, being a friend and not being like a sex fiend.
And not being like, poor is me. Like, she like, especially that one part where she was like, where Alice was like, oh, that's 100-footer lesbian over there. And they're like, what? Where you can tell from 100 feet away that that's a lesbian. And Jenny like pops up. She's like, okay, look at me. Like, what about me? Can you tell from me? And they're like, you're in transition, Jenny. They're cute.
Yeah, she was somebody that I would actually maybe include in a friend group, like I would want to hang out with, and she would be fun to have around. She's not like destructive to relationships in this episode. I enjoyed her this episode. I hope that she stays on this upward path.
Well, we'll see. Anybody who knows anything about the L Word knows that Jenny is like literally the most hated character.
Yeah.
I've said it a million times that I'll always defend season 1 Jenny. I'll always defend that poor little baby, Pisces baby. But after season 1, that girl's on her own.
Oh, yeah, Jenny. And she did really give off baby vibes in this.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, how old is she? What, 24? Like,
I don't know.
well, you're a baby too. To me, that's I am 33 now, so solidly mid 30s at this point.
Solidly a multiple of 11.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And for me, it's my lucky number, so I think this is going to be like my best year. Honestly, that's what I'm going with. Those are the vibes I'm feeling out. Started off with like the best birthday I've ever had with like the most amazing human being. So I am thinking 33 is going to be like a good, solid year.
Good.
Lucky numbers.
All right.
Okay, so should we talk? Can we talk about Alice and her mom, and then we'll talk about Dana?
Oh, please.
So Lenore. So in the opening scene, we always get that like opening scene. It's 1979 Los Angeles, clearly like a studio party type situation. And you just see these two women topless in a pool, like making out, and all these men being like, "Wow, look at them, look at them." And then we come to find out that Lenore was at this party. And this is Lenore's quote unquote coming out story, which was hilarious because it's like all of them going, they're taking Lenore and they're dropping her off somewhere on the road trip to Dinah Shore.
Mm-hmm.
So Lenore's like, I'm going to tell you my coming out story. And in the back, Dana whispers to Tina, is she gay? And Tina's like, no. But I'm like, everyone's like, just let her have her moment. Whatever. She's entertaining. So apparently Lenore was at this studio party and she says that she engaged in the like kind of like a threesome with those two girls. But in the actual flashback, she does not. She's such a liar.
Mm-hmm.
She likes to tell a tall tale.
Oh, 1,000%. She's like literally not involved at all. What actually happens is those two girls are making out for like the voyeurism of the men, and they're naked, and she is in a bathing suit and just slides into the pool and is like adjacent to them, and then tells the story as though she like had a threesome with them in the pool.
Yeah.
But she just so wants to be cool to these women, I think. Like, desperately wants to come off as like a cool, young, hip gay. And also, didn't she have, like a few episodes ago, didn't she have some sort of...
She made out with Shane.
Yeah, exactly. So, but all of their faces were so good. All of them were like... What?
Like this old lady is crazy. Have you seen that meme? And it's like where they're walking the grandma with the walker and the young daughter next to her being like, okay, grandma, let's go back to bed. And the grandma's like, in my time, I made out with two women. That's what it reminds me of. So yeah, they drop Lenore off and they're kind of glad to be rid of her, but she's also, it seemed like Alice, obviously being her daughter, had the like most visceral upset reaction to her mom, and everyone else was kind of like, she does not bothering us, you know, but Alice is like, she's bothering us, right? And yeah, like, yes and no, it's okay, Alice.
This wasn't even just like a drop her mom off. This was a dump and run.
Like, Mom, your agent's calling. She like runs inside. They're like, help me with the bags. We gotta go.
Put Tina in the front seat as a getaway driver, like full on.
So funny.
Insane.
And then freaking Alice's coming out story is hilarious. I love that actress because I feel like she really commits to a character. And Alicia Haylie. No, that's not who's the character. Oh my God. How do I not know this?
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Piasecki. Alice Piasecki, played by Alicia Haylie. Okay, I was right. I know my lesbian actresses. Anyway, her coming out story is that she was in this band in college. And well, okay, there's two. One where she snuck away with this girl in high school under the bleachers and got drunk and they were about to kiss and got thrown up on, which I'm so sorry for her. That's very sad.
Just horrifying.
Right. But then her actual like first time with a woman, I guess, is like it was a band, their bass player dropped out. They had to hold bass auditions, and this girl is plays the bass, and they're on stage and they have all this chemistry and they start making out. What did you think of her boyfriend at the time's reaction?
He had an initial reaction of jealousy, and then it took him like one split second to change his mind and be like, oh, that's hot.
I know. It's like, again, that meme. I just speak in memes now. That meme of that girl that's like, ew, actually.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, it only lasted 2 months because then she just went through all of the gay people at school.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think those experiences are really important because like for Alice, like it opened her up to a whole different world of like attraction that she didn't know about herself before, right?
Yeah.
So as short-lived as it was still a good experience for her.
Also, okay, college Alice, menace. The behavior that she had in that restaurant, like feet up on the table, yelling, like practically having sex through their pants on her boyfriend, like just crazy psycho girl. I didn't even recognize her I mean, she's kind of a rebel rouser as an adult, but yeah. I wouldn't have thought she would be like that. And
she's such an Aquarius to me.
Yeah, and it gave me a little bit of perspective, I think, into the relationship between her and her mom, because I feel like her mom is kind of like, oh, Alice, like exasperated by her a lot.
Yes.
When that doesn't make sense, because it should be Alice being exasperated by Lenore, which she is. But
they are two peas in a pod, those two.
Yeah.
Like Lenore is absolutely a Leo and Alice is absolutely an Aquarius, and those two signs together, just let them be. They're just gonna counteract each other and intertwine with each other completely, and they deserve all the shit they give each other.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense now that we know what she was like. It's like, oh my god, she was crazy. Yeah. But also, it was low-key hot the way that, like, the bass girl, she's doing her audition, Alice doesn't care about anything, and then the second she sees that girl, she's like, ew, don't touch me, to her boyfriend. Their chemistry was so crazy.
Yeah, it was very palpable, like, almost like magnetic, right? Like them on stage, be very magnetically drawn to each other. So, yeah, it was a good story. I liked Alice's. Let's talk about Dana's. Let's talk about Dana's whole episode.
Yeah, Dana, oh my gosh. First of all, okay, Dana's coming out story, real sad, real sad.
But also hilarious the way they shot this.
In what way?
In that they blurred her out as if she was on an episode of Cops. They like literally, and then like bleeped the name. Literally, it felt like an episode of Cops. So Dana's coming out story was with a counselor at tennis camp who she can't talk about. She can't name because she's very famous. And I'm like, ooh, I wonder if it was like Anna Kournikova. Like that's who they were like trying. But the girl that Dana was with wrote a note home to her parents, or wrote a note home to a friend talking about how in love they were. And the friend told the parents, and the parents came and got her. So very sad, but also every single time I've rewatched this episode, I can't get over the blurring of the face. Also,
they completely said the name, like they beeped the name, but you hear the whole thing.
What was it?
It was like Brittany or something.
Oh, I did not hear it. I have tried to listen to that name a million times and I cannot hear it.
Yeah, maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe there's different edits out there, but mine was like, beep Brittany.
Yeah. Yeah, so poor Dana. I feel like Dana like has a Pisces moon in the same way that I have a Pisces moon, because I think she like really like these encounters really devastate her. Like she was obviously very devastated, and it's obviously a traumatic situation as well to have like your first love and then be ripped away like that. And she said that she had seen her at a couple tournaments and like, pretend that she doesn't exist. And I think that's really heart-wrenching for somebody who seems as sensitive as Dana.
Oh, absolutely. Also, I bet that experience in particular shoved her like so far into the closet, and that's why she didn't come out for so long.
Oh, so far into the closet. She was like, oh my God, like look at the repercussions of these actions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then to have her mom, who we know is very conservative, also a closeted lesbian, I definitely think this experience pushed her into the closet even further.
Yeah.
But now she's at Dinah Shore and fucking living it up. Well, trying to, but being like very cock blocked.
Yeah. Okay. This hospitality agent is crazy.
Oh my God. I'm so glad you think that. She becomes a solid character.
Ew, I want her gone. She has crazy eyes. Her vibe is scaring me.
Okay, tell us what happened and tell us your first thoughts, because as you, the resident who hasn't seen it.
Okay. They pull up, and at first, in the first like 10 seconds, I was like, okay, she's doing her job, because my job is also I deal with celebrities and I host them on set, and I make sure that people who aren't supposed to be talking to them don't talk to them, and I make sure that they're very comfortable. Like, basically same thing that she's doing, plus other things. But about 10 seconds in, I was like, this is a little too intense. Weird. She's making some odd comments.
She makes the oddest comment ever. I can't wait to get to it, but it's later.
Yeah. So the first thing she said that kind of raised a red flag to me was when she was like, right off the bat, she was like, we're gonna have to protect you from your fans. They're gonna be going crazy. And all of them look surprised, including Dana. And just knowing, that Dana's never had any problem with crazed fans before. Mm-hmm. And it's not really like a hospitality agent's place to decide how she wants to handle her fans. If anything, it would be like a publicist or her agent, like not this random girl who has nothing to do with her team and is just there to like make sure she has a nice time.
And also, like, when has a group of lesbian fans, honestly, like, ever really acted in a way that would be alarming towards someone? Like, I'm pretty sure we're kind of the most respectful and docile group when it comes to fandoms.
Yeah, and she like rushes Dana away. And also then she's like, oh, do I need to add your friends to dinner? And her tone of voice makes it clear that like, yeah, I don't want to do that.
I said calls and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, no, she's the worst. Mm-hmm. And I cannot believe what ends up happening.
This girl goes to pick Dana up for the night. And first of all, she gives her phone number. And she's like, this is for if you need anything, even if you can't decide what shoes to wear. And Dana's like, okay. And then she comes to pick Dana up for the event, and she's like, oh, you look incredible. We're going to have a hard time keeping people off of you. And then she makes another comment like that before they're even out the hotel door. Then they get out of the event, and people are trying to be like, oh, hi, Dana. Dana, could I get an autograph? And this girl's like, oh, how dare you? She's just
you won't let anyone near Dana in like such a jealous way. Like, this is kind of her job. And you can see Dana like wants to sign autographs, wants to talk to people, because there's one girl that's like, Dana, do you have a girlfriend? Which is, okay, you're at Dinah Shore. You can ask people that, right? Mm-hmm. And she's like, how dare you ask her that? And Dana's like, no, I don't. Like, like Dana wants to hit on these women too, and they want to hit on her. And she is absolutely cock blocking the entire time.
Yeah, and she had just asked Dana that herself.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's so ridiculous. Then they get back to the hotel room, and this hospitality lady, Tanya, literally like pushes her against the wall and is like, I want to make love to you so bad, and starts kissing her. And Dana's like such a little naive baby because she's like, okay.
I was so uncomfortable during this. Also, if a girl I met that day told me that she wants to make love to me, I'd be like, you have lost your marbles.
No, Dana was like not into it, and then was like, you know what? Why not? And like Alice calls her and she's like trying to answer, and freaking Tanya's behind her being like, do you like that? Does that feel good? And she's like, gets off the phone, and Alice is like, oh my God, Dana's hooking up. But when Dana gets off the phone, she like wants to get off the phone and then is like rolls on top of Tanya and is like making out with her. And I'm like, oh, okay, at least Dana's into it. Like, to each their own.
Oh, it was so crazy. And then, oh my God, Tanya's like, I can't believe I'm about to go down on Dana Fairbanks.
That was the moment.
Yeah. Oh my God. The last name drop. I can't believe I'm like, ew, Dana, run.
So bad.
She's literally like fetish, whatever.
Fetishizing your celebrity.
Yes.
Like, yeah, it was really icky. I can, not that I would say this because I still think it's cringe, but you can be like, oh, I can't believe I'm going to go down on you. Like you, right?
Mhm.
Again, I would not say that. But like, at least that would make more sense and wouldn't be so cringe. And then Tanya goes back with Dana to LA and rides back, and they're doing the whole like lesbian thing where they're like, oh my God, you like this? I like this too. You like this? Blah, 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 blah. But then Tanya goes, are you a dog person or a cat person? Please tell me you're a dog person because I hate cats, which is hilarious. And it calls back to the very beginning of the episode because Dana has this cat, Mr. Piddles, we all know and love, and is like obsessed with him, like treats him like a child, and is like leaving him with Kit. And you can just see Dana's face drop when Tanya's like, I hate cats. Everyone in the car is like, oh shit. And then she like tries to walk it back, being like, oh yeah. And everyone's just like, no, we hate her now. We absolutely hate her.
Totally something you have to judge on a cat by cat basis.
Yeah. So yeah, Dana has herself a new boo who nobody likes.
No, and the way that they hold hands sends me over the edge.
How do they hold hands?
Like stiff arm, whole arm intertwined, walking kind of sideways.
Oh, that's
shuffling.
funny. I missed that. That's really funny. So yeah, like I said, Tanya does become a recurring character.
Ugh.
I know.
Why? Okay. Dana has a problem because she always does this. She just keeps on, whenever she gets into a relationship, she just jumps in 2 feet first, and she doesn't care if there's no water in the pool.
Right?
If there's just concrete, she's like, guess I've got 2 broken legs. Is someone gonna push my wheelchair?
I know. She is very much a people pleaser. But something I want to point out, which I want to know if you caught, was how much Alice disliked Tanya. I felt like Alice was like the driving factor in like the hate, much like she is with Lenore, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Did you catch that?
I did.
Okay. Thoughts?
I thought that I really thought that in the night, as soon as they heard, as soon as Alice heard her hooking up, that she was going to lead like a let's go to Dana's room and stop this hookup.
Yeah, you know what? I definitely could have seen that. But I did think it was really cute because when Dana was coming back in, Alice was like getting up in the hotel room and Jenny was like sitting up and she hears the door. Like, this is such like girlhood right here.
It is.
She's like, oh shit, Dana's coming. Pretend you're asleep. And she shoves Jenny down on the couch, jumps back into bed next to Tina and like lays still. And Dana comes in and she's like tiptoeing. And then as soon as she gets by where she can't see Alice anymore, Alice like grabs her and like pulls her into bed and is like, tell me everything. Which I think is so cute.
I did love that part.
Just
It
like,
is
who
girlhood.
hasn't done that?
And I also loved the way that included Jenny in the friendship.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you were saying, where Jenny's like more involved
Mm-hmm.
and like a friend versus like some little girl we have to have pity on and help, you know?
Yeah, which speaking of, at the very beginning, when Tina kind of let the bomb drop to Marina that she invited her, it was a double whammy on both Jenny and Marina because Marina was like, "Oh, like Jenny's going," and Tina was like, "Yeah, I invited her. I just felt bad for her. Like she's so alone."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, Tina, that I mean, that's nice of you, but also like poor Jenny,
Kick
you
her when
only
she's
invited her
down.
because you feel bad for her because she's alone, and then poor Marina, I mean, she deserves it, but also like
Yeah.
to her face in front of everyone, well, I feel bad for her. She's alone, and that's your fault,
Your
dumbass.
fault, Marina.
Like, good going, girl.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's talk about Shane really quickly because it's really cute.
Yeah.
Um, and okay, so I'm gonna tell you I was watching this on the way home today.
Mhm.
I've like seen this episode a million times, but I wanted to watch it. And I was watching it in the car while my girlfriend was driving, and it was Shane's part. And so Shane's coming out story is about how this little 5-year-old girl was so beautiful. And she's like, and I just knew then she stole my toy and then she stole my heart. And my girlfriend was so funny and cute. She was like, that's exactly how I was. I kissed a girl when I was that age, and I just knew ever since then. And I was like, oh, that's so adorable. But like, yeah, I actually am really envious of people like that, who from just like a young age know that they're like gay. Like, God damn. I wish
Mhm.
that I had that.
Well, it's so wild because I have dated people that have known since they're that age, but
Yeah.
then like society convinces them otherwise. Like
Yeah.
they would date girls all through elementary school, and then all of a sudden they get to high school and like they're straight.
Right.
And then it takes like years for them to be like, "Oh, I'm gay."
Yeah. Social constructs are heavy and strong.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I still really am envious though. Like when my girlfriend said that, I was just like, you're so lucky.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Shane too. I'm like, yeah, there are different like hardships with that and like trying to deal with that as a child, like a younger child, but how nice to be so sure of yourself, you know?
Right.
And I love that about Shane. I love how she was just like, she stole my toy and she stole my heart. She was the most beautiful blonde little girl I'd ever seen in my life. And I was just like, that is the cutest thing in the world.
It is. It is really sweet to have just a sense of identity that is unshaken by things around you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really all Shane has in this episode. It's funny. It's really funny to rewatch these, and like Shane becomes literally one of the most main characters as the show goes on. But in this first season, she doesn't have a lot. Like every episode, she's there for like 4 or 5 minutes, you know? So it's interesting for you, I think, to see the character development as we go.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think whenever she is on screen, it it's used to the most, because she is beloved,
Mhm.
at least so far from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And everything that she does is like so kind. Like she made sure that Jenny had water next to her when she's sleeping because she knew that there was probably going to be a wicked hangover in the morning. And she she's always looking out for everybody, and she was just kind of keeping an eye on Jenny in the bar.
Yeah.
And she went out to the hall to talk to Sherry, and there's all of these girls who think she's so hot and are hitting on her, and she just doesn't have any interest in any of them because she's interested in Sherry. And I just like, she's just a good person.
Yeah, sometimes I think the best humans in the world are the most hurt people. And I think, and yeah, that's kind of like a blanket statement right there, but they're the kindest people too, because they've been through so much that they just want, they don't want other people to go through that and live with hardships and things like that, right? Like, especially with the water. Like, I feel like that comes from Shane drinking too much one time and waking up and being like, I wish somebody would put water next to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that type of thinking. So yeah, Shane is just lovely. I can't wait until we get more into it. She does, I want to say it's like season 3 or season 4, make one of the most heart-wrenching and controversial decisions like that you're gonna freak out about. And it makes it hard to like, you understand, but you're also like, don't do it. And she does it. And it's like really bad. Anyway, I know it's bad. Okay, but now let's get to it. Let's get to Bette and Tina. I think that's our last little bit, yeah? Oh, she pissed. Oh my God, I had so much. Okay, let's start with Tina's. Okay. The juxtaposition of these stories that are happening simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
We have Tina's coming out story, which I love Shane's line that says, Tina's the last one to kind of talk about hers. And Shane says, no, like, tell us your coming out story because it gives us all hope. And what a foreshadowing of like I don't know, things crumbling, right? And then at the same time, you have Bette working with this horribly attractive contractor. Yeah. And you can tell like their chemistry is off the charts as well.
Yeah.
Between Bette and the contractor. And so what's really sweet is Tina's story. And it goes like this. Tina was dating this art collector who took her to a Bette Porter gallery showing, and she meets her there. And they get invited to this one of Bette's very famous artist dinners. She comes to that one, and Bette is such a player. She's so smooth. Oh, but can we also talk about how Alice and Bette have dated?
Yes.
Catch that? And the cutest thing was like when she was like, Tina was talking about how she went to the Bette Porter gallery, and Alice was like, oh, I helped Bette find that space. And Tina goes, I know. And like shuts her down. It's so funny. But anyway, so now they're at this dinner, and Bette is so smooth because she's like, oh, your earring, it's like falling out into your hair. And she takes it and like puts it back in, but she doesn't put it back in, and she keeps it so that Tina would have to come back and get her earring. And I think that was smooth. And Tina comes back to get the earring, and Bette kisses her, and the rest is history. And Tina says she's my first, last, and only. And I just thought that was so sweet but it's also heartbreaking because at the same time, we're watching Bette and this contractor lady go back and forth, and something's up, right? We've had the foreshadowing of Bette thinking she's not in love anymore. We've had this, everything is going to culminate in the next episode because it's our season finale, and I'm very excited to talk to you about it. And I think we're both going to be, have some very strong emotions. But Tina, I really liked the conversation that the other friends brought up with Tina being like, aren't you like kind of sad you've never like slept with another woman type thing? And she's like, yeah, like I understand that. And I do think about that sometimes, but it doesn't matter to me because I love Bette. Mm-hmm. So Tina just over the head over heels in love with her partner and I always say wife, but they're not married, but and at the same time, what's going on with Bette? You want to tell us?
Yeah, so this is paralleling the earring story. The contractor has been in and out of the office. There's an implication made that since Bette wants her work done well and cheap, that she'll have to bump up against this contractor for over a year. And, you know, the contractor comes in, buys her lunch, they eat together. Bette accepts a phone call from Tina. The contractor goes, "Oh, I didn't know you have a girlfriend." Bette was like, "Why would you?" Things are just really, there's a ton of tension in the air between them.
That's
it's awkward. Yeah, tension is you could cut it with a knife. And you know, they bump into each other, they get so close to each other they may kiss. Bette backs away, like, and then contractor leaves and comes back a minute later and says, "I forgot something." And this is right as Tina is telling the story about the earring and how she forgot it and went back to Bette's office.
Mm-hmm.
And she walks up to Bette and she's like, "I just couldn't leave here without telling you that I want to kiss you. And if you don't want me to, speak now." Mm-hmm. And Bette says nothing, and so they kiss. And I knew from that first hip swing when that girl walked out Bette's door.
Yeah.
She was done.
Yep.
She was done. She didn't stand a chance.
I know. With the measuring tape on her belt, I was like, oh, okay.
Bette just, like, immediately starts, she gets emotional. She's, like, crying.
After the kiss,
she knows that she just wrecked her relationship.
Yep.
She's wrecked with guilt.
It's not even like she knows she wrecked the relationship, not because of this one kiss, but because of the feelings she's having towards this other woman, and how I feel like it was so easy for Bette to, like, let herself be in that state of mind. Like, and then to see her just sobbing about it, because it's like she knows that this is not going to end well.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, what's really interesting is I find when Tina comes back and Bette's standing looking out the window and she thinks that the contractor has come back and stood behind her. And she says, "I'm so sorry, I can't." I think possibly, and then turns around and sees it's Tina, right? And Tina's like, "Oh, like, what can't you do?" And she's like, "Oh, I just don't think she has to cover," right?
Yeah.
But I think if it had been the contractor, I think those, like, two sentences of, "I'm sorry, I don't think I can," I think those were her last willpower to stop something. And if it had been the contractor, maybe things wouldn't blow up. But since it wasn't, and it was Tina, I just don't see this ending well.
That's interesting.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think the contractor. Ugh.
Here's the thing. I like the contractor. Like, yes, she is doing something wrong, but she's also not doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? It's not on her to, like, she shouldn't blanket statement, she shouldn't be pursuing Bette because Bette's in a relationship. I get that. But also, like, Bette is not shutting her down either. And so it's almost hard to hold the contractor accountable. Like, we have to hold Bette accountable, you know?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know if the contractor is going to respect the relationship or if she's going to keep coming back.
Yeah. Well, she's going to be working there for sure. Can't, like...
Which I think at that point, Bette needs to find a different contractor.
Oh, I agree.
Like, what?
I think that is that's best case scenario. But do you think that's going to happen?
No.
No.
And it was just so sad that Tina came and she was saying how she just wanted to come home to Bette. And it's so sad knowing what just happened. It's like...
Mm-hmm.
And also, Bette decides in that moment not to come clean.
I know.
So Bette either is going to have to come clean later after lying for an indeterminate amount of time, or she's gonna have it blow up in her face in some other way.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like where our episode ends. We now know a lot more about our characters. Bette and Tina is obviously still the main focal point of this season, and we have our season finale next.
Crazy.
Just let me tell you, this episode is ingrained in my head. I wouldn't even have to watch it. I know exactly what happened. I can quote it. It's a big one. It's a good one. I mean, think season 1 of the first like lesbian TV show, and all this drama is about to happen.
Wow.
Be scared.
I'm shaken.
Yeah, Haylie, I just want to thank you again for putting all the resources together and for your just acknowledgement of the victims of the fire, and letting everybody know kind of more so what's going on direct from us. I appreciate that. And just remember, everyone, we're going to have the links in the show notes below. And if there's anything we can do, if you need, just want to talk to someone, we're here. We're in the DMs. Like, reach out to us. We're pretty respondent. What's the right word? We respond pretty quickly on our Instagram. So yeah, let us know if you guys have any more resources that you want us to share. We could also share that. Any closing thoughts, Haylie?
No, just thanks for being with us, guys. And please, if you can help, share.
Yep. Be the helpers.
Yeah, look for the helpers.
Yep. Mr. Roger is always coming through for us. Thank you, guys. Next week, we're going to be covering the second book on the Halcyon series by E.J. Noyes, and I can't wait. I love that it's actually kind of a quick read. On my Audible, it says 7.5 hours. So I'm like, I can do it.
I started it this morning.
Yeah, I think I'm like I'm like chapter 4 or 5 right now. Can't wait to talk to you guys again, and please reach out, leave us a review, and we will talk to you all next week.
Catch you next time. Love you guys.
Love you guys. Bye.